It started as a normal day at the Global Space Monitor Station. The coffee was bad, the computers hummed their usual tune, and the staff watched their screens with practiced boredom. That was until every single alarm in the facility started blaring at once. Jack Thompson, the night shift supervisor, nearly spilled his coffee as he rushed to the main console. His eyes widened as he stared at the readings. Something massive had just appeared at the edge of their solar system. Not one object, but hundreds. "Get me confirmation from all stations," he shouted, his voice barely heard over the alarms. And somebody turned those things off. The alarms fell silent, replaced by the furious typing of keyboards as the team worked to verify what their instruments were telling them. One by one, space monitoring stations from around the world reported the same thing. A fleet of unknown vessels had appeared near Pluto's orbit. "Sir," called out Mary from her station, "we're picking up a signal. Multiple signals. Actually, they're broadcasting on every frequency we can detect." Jack wiped his sweaty palms on his pants. "Put it through." The main screen filled with a series of images and mathematical equations. Even Jack, with his limited knowledge of advanced math, could tell this was first contact protocol. The aliens were trying to establish basic communication using universal constants. "Call the director," he ordered. "Wake up every government official on the contact list. This is not a drill." Within hours, the Global Space Monitor Station transformed from a quiet observation post into the center of Earth's most important communication effort. Director Wilson arrived, looking like he had dressed in a hurry, followed by teams of mathematicians, linguists, and military officers. The alien messages became clearer as Earth's best minds worked to decipher them. They weren't just saying hello. They were asking for help. "Their ships are damaged," explained Dr. Roberts, the lead decoder. "From what we can understand, they're running on emergency power. Life support systems are failing. They've got thousands of civilians aboard those ships." Director Wilson stared at the latest images from their deep space telescopes. The alien fleet was massive. Hundreds of ships, some bigger than anything humans had ever built. But now that they knew what to look for, they could see the damage. Some ships were clearly limping, their movements erratic. Others showed signs of massive structural damage. "How did they get here?" someone asked. "The messages mentioned some kind of faster-than-light travel system," Dr. Roberts replied. "But it's not working now. They're stuck." The news spread across Earth like wildfire. Social media exploded with theories and reactions. Television networks ran non-stop coverage. Religious leaders called for emergency meetings. Stock markets wobbled with uncertainty. But in the midst of this chaos, humanity showed its better nature. Nations that had been enemies for decades started talking about cooperation. Space agencies from around the world began sharing data and resources. Private space companies offered their help without being asked. Captain James Walker of the International Space Agency received the call while he was training new pilots in the lunar simulator. His secretary's voice shook as she delivered the message. "They want you to lead the response team." James had earned his reputation as the best emergency response commander in the ISA. He had saved 3 crews from disaster during the early Mars missions. If anyone could figure out how to help a stranded alien fleet, it was him. As he looked out the window of the shuttle taking him to the emergency meeting in Geneva, James thought about the challenge ahead. Humanity had barely reached Mars, and now they were being asked to save a civilization far more advanced than their own. It seemed impossible. But then again, humans had a habit of doing the impossible. The aliens sent more detailed messages as Earth's translations improved. They had fled from some kind of attack. Their advanced technology had been partially disabled by weapons they'd never seen before. Now they were trapped, their mighty ships reduced to drifting hulks, while thousands of civilian refugees waited in scared silence. They needed help. They needed humanity. As the sun set on that historic first day, Earth had changed forever. Humanity was no longer alone in the universe, and their first act as part of the galactic community would be one of rescue and compassion. Little did they know that their primitive technology would soon prove to be their greatest asset. The meeting room in Geneva was packed with world leaders, military commanders, and scientific experts. The air felt heavy with tension as the first clear images of the alien ships appeared on the giant screen. Captain James Walker stood at the podium, pointing to the detailed scans. The main fleet consists of 300 vessels. Most of them are civilian transport ships. Their largest vessel, which appears to be their command center, is roughly the size of Manhattan. The room filled with whispers. Even the most hardened officials couldn't hide their amazement at the scale of what they were seeing. But here's the real problem, James continued, zooming in on one of the ships. Their power cores are failing. Whatever hit them wasn't just an attack. It was specifically designed to disable their technology. Dr. Roberts, now the head of Alien Communications, stepped forward. We've managed to establish better communication with their leadership. The aliens call themselves the Unity Fleet. They were a peaceful research and exploration group when they were attacked by an unknown force. The president of the World Space Council raised her hand. How many refugees are we talking about? 50,000 civilians, James replied. Men, women, and children, or whatever their equivalent is. Their life support systems are running on backup power, and that's failing too. We have less than 30 days before the situation becomes critical. The room erupted in concerned murmurs. 50,000 lives hanging in the balance. It would be the largest rescue operation in human history, and they would have to conduct it in space, with technology they barely understood. There's more, Dr. Roberts added, his face grim. The Unity Fleet's leadership has shared details about their attackers. They used some kind of energy pulse that specifically targeted their advanced systems. Their quantum computers, artificial gravity, and faster-than-light drives, all disabled. They barely managed to make one final jump to the nearest inhabited system they could find. Us. Military commanders exchanged worried glances. If something could disable such advanced technology so easily, what chance did Earth's defenses have? The good news, James continued, is that our technology might actually work where theirs failed. Their systems are too advanced to be easily repaired, but our primitive mechanical and chemical engineering could provide temporary solutions. He pulled up another image, this one showing a basic mechanical pump design. Their water recycling system uses quantum field manipulation. Ours uses good old-fashioned filters and pumps. Theirs is dead. Ours would work just fine. The chief engineer of NASA stood up. Are you suggesting we basically retrofit their ships with our technology? That's like fixing a quantum computer with an abacus. Exactly, James smiled. Sometimes the simplest solution is the best one. Their artificial gravity is down, but we can create gravity by spinning sections of their ships, just like we did with our first space stations. Their energy weapons are useless, but our chemical rockets work fine. Sometimes, being primitive has its advantages. The room grew quiet as the implications sank in. Humanity, the newcomers to space travel, might be the only ones who could help these advanced aliens. The president of the World Space Council spoke again. What do you need, Captain Walker? Everything we've got, he replied. Every space-worthy vessel, every trained engineer and technician, every spare part and tool we can load into orbit. And we need it fast. The next few hours were a blur of activity. Emergency orders went out across the globe. Space agencies began preparing their launch vehicles. Factory workers were called in for emergency shifts to produce needed equipment. The entire world began moving with a single purpose. In orbit, the International Space Station became the staging area for humanity's first interstellar rescue mission. Supply ships began arriving hourly, bringing everything from basic tools to full habitat modules. James walked through the crowded corridors of the station, watching as engineers and technicians prepared for the mission. They were about to attempt something unprecedented, saving an alien civilization with technology that the aliens had probably considered obsolete centuries ago. As he looked out the window at Earth below, James thought about the irony of the situation. The Unity fleet had probably passed dozens of other advanced civilizations on their way here. But in the end, it was humanity's primitive technology that might save them. The real work was about to begin. The first meeting between humans and the Unity fleet's leaders took place on their command ship. Captain James Walker led a small team of Earth's best engineers through the alien vessel's massive corridors. The ship's emergency lights cast everything in a dim blue glow. Tom Miller, Earth's head engineer, couldn't help but stare at the alien technology around them, even in its damaged state. "It's like walking through a science fiction movie," he whispered. Their alien guide, who had introduced himself as Commander Ray, moved with a grace that seemed almost unnatural. His tall, silvery form towered over the human delegation. "We are grateful for your assistance," he said through a translator device. "Though I must admit, we are confused by your proposed solutions." They entered what appeared to be the ship's main engineering room. Holographic displays flickered weakly, showing countless warning signals. The room should have been bustling with activity, but most of the advanced machinery sat silent and dead. Tom pulled out a simple mechanical pressure gauge from his toolkit. "Sometimes the old ways are the best ways," he said, approaching one of the failed life support units. "May I?" Commander Ray nodded, though his expression showed clear doubt. The alien engineers watched with what seemed like embarrassment as Tom attached his primitive device to their advanced system. "Just as I thought," Tom said after a moment. "The quantum field manipulators might be dead, but the basic pipes and chambers are intact. We can bypass your entire atmospheric processor with a series of mechanical pumps and filters." He pulled up a tablet and showed them the design. "It won't be as efficient as your original system, but it will work. And more importantly, it can't be disabled by whatever hit you." One of the alien engineers, looking at the simple schematics, made a sound that the translators interpreted as disbelief. "You suggest we replace our quantum atmospheric harmonizers with pipes and fans?" "Exactly," James stepped in. "Your technology is incredible, but right now it's also your weakness. Our solutions might be basic, but they're reliable. They don't need quantum fields or AI controllers. They just need good old-fashioned physics." Commander Ray studied the designs carefully. "These are the same principles we used thousands of years ago. We considered them obsolete." "Sometimes the old ways still have value," James replied. "We can install mechanical backup systems throughout your fleet. Basic water purification, air circulation, even simple chemical thrusters for emergency maneuvering. None of it will be as good as your original systems, but all of it will work." The next few hours were spent examining different parts of the ship. The human engineers found more and more places where their primitive technology could help. Simple mechanical generators could provide emergency power. Chemical batteries could store it. Basic pulley systems could replace anti-gravity lifts. Tom stopped at one point to check readings on another failed system. "You'd know what your ships remind me of," he said to no one in particular. "Those super advanced cars that won't run if their computer fails. Sometimes you just need a good old wrench and some elbow grease." The alien engineers began to show more interest as the humans explained their plans. They asked questions about mechanical systems they hadn't thought about in generations. Some even started suggesting improvements to the human designs, adding their advanced knowledge of materials to Earth's simple but effective solutions. "There's something beautiful about it," one of the alien engineers said, watching Tom install a mechanical pressure valve. "The elegance of simple machines we have forgotten." By the end of the day, the first test systems were in place. The humans watched with pride as their basic mechanical pump began circulating air through one section of the massive ship, doing the job of a failed quantum processor. Commander Ray gathered the human team before they left. "We thought we needed another advanced civilization to save us," he said. "Instead, we found something perhaps more valuable. A young race that remembers the foundations we built upon. You have not forgotten the basics, and that may be exactly what we need." As the human team headed back to their shuttle, James looked at the schedule ahead. They had to repeat this process for hundreds of ships, racing against failing life support systems. But for the first time, he felt real hope. Sometimes the simplest solutions were the best ones. Earth's primitive technology was about to save an advanced civilization. The launch of humanity's rescue fleet was the largest space operation in Earth's history. 15 ships, ranging from converted cargo vessels to newly assembled rescue craft, lifted off from various spaceports around the globe. Captain James Walker watched from the bridge of the flagship Prometheus as the fleet gathered in Earth orbit. "All ships reporting ready, Captain," said Mike Ross, his communications officer. "The supply vessels are loaded with mechanical parts, tools, and enough spare materials to rebuild half the systems in the alien fleet." James nodded, his eyes scanning the tactical display. The distance to the Unity fleet was enormous. Even at their best speed, it would take them 5 days to reach the stranded aliens. 5 days that the failing life support systems couldn't spare. "Send the go signal," he ordered. "All ships, full burn toward the target coordinates." The human fleet accelerated away from Earth, their chemical rockets blazing bright against the black of space. They might not have faster-than-light drives, but the proven technology of rocket engines would get them there. Tom Miller's voice came over the comm from the engineering deck. "Captain, you should see what we've managed to pack into the cargo holds. We've got mechanical pumps, basic generators, even some old-style gyroscopic stabilizers. The aliens might think it's ancient technology, but it's going to save their lives." The journey was tense. Every few hours brought new reports of failing systems in the alien fleet. The humans worked during the transit, preparing their equipment and studying the technical data the aliens had shared. On the third day, they received an urgent message. One of the smaller alien ships had lost its backup power. 400 refugees were trapped inside, with only hours of air left. "Can we increase speed?" James asked his navigation officer. "The engines are already at maximum safe levels, sir. Pushing harder could cause structural damage." James gripped his chair's armrests. This was why they had split their fleet into faster and slower groups. "Signal the advance team. Tell them to prepare for immediate rescue operations as soon as they arrive." The advance team, consisting of 3 fastest ships, reached the stricken alien vessel just in time. The humans, wearing their bulky spacesuits, cut through the alien ship's hull when its airlocks wouldn't respond. They'd brought with them portable air supplies and basic mechanical fans to circulate it. The rescue team found the aliens huddled in the ship's central chamber, their own advanced environmental suits failing. Using hand signals and basic gestures, the humans guided them to the emergency gear they'd brought. "Sometimes the simplest solutions are the best," said one of the rescue team members, helping an alien child adjust a basic oxygen mask. The mask wasn't designed for alien anatomy, but rubber straps and quick thinking made it work. By the time the main fleet arrived, the rescue team had stabilized the situation on the damaged ship. James watched from the Prometheus as his crews spread out across the alien fleet, beginning the massive task of installing backup systems. The work was challenging. Human engineers had to adapt their equipment to alien technologies they barely understood. They worked in zero gravity, in spaces not designed for human bodies, often communicating through gestures when translators failed. But they made progress. Ship by ship, system by system, humanity's primitive technology began providing vital backup support to the failing alien systems. Mechanical pumps circulated air and water. Chemical batteries provided emergency power. Simple pulleys and counterweights replaced anti-gravity systems. The aliens watched in amazement as the humans solved complex problems with basic engineering. When an atmospheric processor wouldn't restart, the humans bypassed it with a series of fans and filters. When a gravity generator failed, they set up a rotating living space using simple centrifugal force. "Your people are remarkably resourceful," Commander Ray told James during an inspection tour. "You find solutions we would never have considered, precisely because we've grown too dependent on our advanced technology. James watched as a team of engineers installed a mechanical pressure regulator. We learned long ago that the most reliable solutions are often the simplest ones. Every system can fail, but the simpler the system, the easier it is to fix. The work continued around the clock. The human fleet, tiny compared to the massive alien ships they were helping, moved from vessel to vessel. They couldn't restore the aliens' advanced technology, but they could give them something just as valuable: a way to survive. As James looked out at the massive rescue operation, he felt a surge of pride. Humanity might be new to the stars, but they were proving their worth in the most important way possible, by saving lives. The mission was far from over, but they were making progress, one ship at a time. 2 weeks into the rescue mission, Tom Miller stood in the engine room of an alien transport ship, staring at a problem that seemed impossible to solve. The ship's main power core was completely dead, and without it, all their backup systems would fail within days. "We can't fix their quantum technology," he told Captain James through his radio. "But I might have an idea. It's either brilliant or completely crazy." "Those are usually your best ideas," James replied. "What are you thinking?" Tom looked at the massive empty space around the dead power core. "We've got those old-style generators we brought as backup. If we connect about 20 of them together, add some basic mechanical transfer systems." He paused, sketching quickly on his tablet. "We could build them a completely mechanical power plant, like an old factory engine room, but in space." The alien engineers watched with a mixture of curiosity and disbelief as the humans began transforming their sleek engine room into something that looked more like a 19th-century steam plant. Gears, shafts, and mechanical generators filled the space where quantum fields once flickered. "It's not pretty," Tom admitted to Commander Ray, who had come to observe the work, "but it will provide enough power to run all the backup systems we've installed." The alien commander watched as the humans worked, his translator struggling to keep up with their technical discussions. "Your people think differently than ours," he observed. "Where we see impossible problems, you see opportunities for, what did you call it?" "Improvising." Tom grinned. "It's a human specialty." The makeshift power plant wasn't the only example of human ingenuity. Across the fleet, engineers were coming up with creative solutions to complex problems. When an alien ship's navigation system failed, leaving it unable to maintain its position, the humans rigged up a simple gyroscope system using spare parts from their own ships. It wasn't as precise as the alien tech, but it kept the ship stable. In another vessel, they replaced a failed water recycling system with a series of mechanical filters and basic distillation units. "It's basically the same system we use on Earth," explained one of the engineers to her alien counterparts. "Sometimes the old ways are the best ways." The aliens began to take real interest in these simple solutions. Their own engineers started learning about mechanical systems they hadn't used in generations. Some even began suggesting improvements to the human designs. "See this gear system?" An alien engineer named Bright pointed out to Tom. "If you adjust the ratio and use our advanced materials, you could increase efficiency by 40%. This collaboration led to something unexpected, a blend of human ingenuity and alien knowledge. The mechanical systems became more efficient, more reliable, and easier to maintain. It wasn't just humans helping aliens anymore. It was two species learning from each other. "Look at this," James said during a meeting with his senior staff. He displayed images from across the fleet. Where there had once been failing advanced technology, there were now working mechanical systems. Not as elegant as the original alien tech, but far more reliable. "We've managed to stabilize life support on 80% of their ships," he continued. "Power systems are at 50% and improving. We're not just keeping them alive, we're teaching them a whole new way to approach problems." Commander Ray had become a regular visitor to the human ships, fascinated by their primitive but effective technology. "My people had forgotten something important," he told James one day. In our rush to advance, we lost touch with the fundamental principles that made that advancement possible. The aliens began documenting everything the humans did, creating detailed manuals of mechanical systems and basic engineering principles. They called it the foundation knowledge and treated it as something precious that they had almost lost. 1 month into the mission, the first fully stabilized alien ship was declared operational. It wasn't running on quantum fields or artificial intelligence anymore. Instead, it hummed with the sound of mechanical systems working together, a symphony of gears, pumps, and generators. "It's not exactly cutting-edge technology," Tom said, standing with James and Commander Ray as they observed the restored ship. "But sometimes the best technology isn't about being advanced. It's about being reliable." The alien commander nodded. "Perhaps that is the most important lesson your people have taught us. True advancement isn't about forgetting the past. It's about building upon it wisely." The rescue mission was turning into something more, an exchange of knowledge that would benefit both species for generations to come. The warning came during a routine system check. Mike Ross, monitoring communications from the Prometheus, noticed an unusual pattern in the background radiation. At first, he thought it was just interference, but something about it seemed familiar. "Captain," he called to James, "you need to see this." James studied the readings on the screen. The pattern matched something they'd seen before, in the Unity fleet's records of their original attack. "Sound General Quarters," James ordered, his voice tight. "Get me Commander Ray immediately." The alien commander's response confirmed their worst fears. "These are the same energy signatures we detected before our systems were disabled," he said, his translator barely keeping up with his urgent tone. "They found us." The rescue mission suddenly became a defense operation. James gathered his command staff and the alien leaders for an emergency meeting aboard the Prometheus. "How long do we have?" he asked. Commander Ray's response was grim. "Based on these readings, less than 6 hours. Their ships are faster than anything we have." "Then we need to prepare," James said. He turned to Tom Miller. "How many of the alien ships are operational with our backup systems?" "About 60%, Tom replied. "They can move and maintain life support, but they have no weapons. Their defense systems were too complex to replace with our technology." James nodded, a plan forming in his mind. "Maybe that's our advantage." "Commander Ray, you said these attackers specifically targeted your advanced technology." "Yes. Their weapons disrupted our quantum fields, disabled our AI systems. Everything advanced just stopped working. But they've never faced our primitive technology, have they?" James smiled. "They won't be expecting chemical rockets and physical projectiles." The next few hours were a blur of activity. The human fleet spread out around the vulnerable alien ships, positioning themselves as a defensive screen. Their weapons might have been considered obsolete by galactic standards, but they still worked. "Load all railguns with tungsten rounds," James ordered. "Prepare chemical missiles for launch. Let's show them what primitive weapons can do." The enemy fleet appeared exactly as predicted, 15 sleek ships that seemed to bend the light around them. They were beautiful and terrifying, clearly far more advanced than even the Unity fleet's vessels. "They're broadcasting some kind of signal," Mike reported, "similar to what disabled the alien ships before. But this time, something was different. The human ships, running on basic electronics and mechanical systems, remained operational. Their primitive technology was immune to the advanced attack. "All ships, open fire," James commanded. The space around them lit up with the flash of chemical rockets and the streak of railgun projectiles. The enemy ships, expecting to face advanced energy weapons, were caught completely off guard by the primitive but effective human weapons. Physical projectiles traveling at incredible speeds tore through their advanced shields, which were designed to stop energy weapons, not solid objects. Chemical explosions disrupted their sensor systems, which couldn't properly track such obsolete technology. Commander Ray watched in amazement from his ship as the human fleet engaged the attackers. Their weapons are so simple, he said, but sometimes the simplest solutions are the most effective. The battle was short but intense. 2 human ships were damaged, but the enemy fleet, faced with weapons they had never encountered and couldn't easily counter, was forced to retreat. They didn't expect this, Tom said during the post-battle assessment. They were ready for advanced technology, not rockets and railguns. Sometimes being primitive has its advantages. The aftermath of the battle brought a new respect between the species. The aliens had seen not only humanity's ingenuity in fixing their ships, but also their courage in defending them. Your people have proven themselves twice over, Commander Ray told James as they watched repair teams fix the battle damage. First, you saved our lives with your simple machines. Then you defended us with your simple weapons. James looked out at the fleet, human and alien ships working together. Maybe that's why we were meant to meet, he said. You'd forgotten the foundations that all advanced technology is built upon. Sometimes you need to be reminded of the basics. The threat wasn't over. They knew the attackers might return. But now they had something they didn't have before, the combined strength of human determination and alien knowledge. As repair work continued, plans were already being made to adapt more human technology for defensive purposes. The Unity fleet would never again be helpless against such attacks. Sometimes, the old ways were the best ways after all. 3 months after the rescue mission began, the Unity fleet gathered near Earth's orbit. Their ships, now running on a unique combination of alien and human technology, were ready to continue their journey. But this wasn't a simple goodbye. It was the beginning of something much bigger. Captain James Walker stood on the observation deck of the Prometheus, watching as the massive alien ships moved with newfound stability. Each one now carried a piece of human engineering at its heart, a blend of the simple and the advanced that made them stronger than before. It's strange, Tom Miller said, joining him at the window. When we first saw their ships, we thought they were so far beyond us. Now they're using our backup generators and mechanical systems as standard equipment. Commander Ray's ship pulled alongside the Prometheus, dwarfing the human vessel. The alien leader's image appeared on their communication screen. The Unity Council has reached a decision, he announced. We would like to formally invite Earth to join the Galactic Alliance. James smiled. This wasn't entirely unexpected. Over the past months, as humans and aliens worked together, both sides had learned valuable lessons. The aliens had rediscovered the importance of fundamental engineering, while humans had gained insights into advanced technology. But we want more than just a political alliance, Commander Ray continued. We want to establish a joint engineering academy. Your people have shown us that true advancement doesn't mean abandoning proven technologies. We need to preserve this knowledge. The announcement sent waves of excitement through both fleets. The proposed academy would combine human practical engineering with alien advanced science. It would train engineers from both species, ensuring that the lessons learned during the rescue mission would never be forgotten. Think about it, Tom said excitedly. Their quantum technology combined with our mechanical backup systems, their AI working alongside our manual controls. The best of both worlds. The Unity fleet had already begun implementing these changes. Their ships now carried human-style mechanical backup systems as standard equipment. Simple but effective solutions that couldn't be disabled by advanced weapons. Some alien engineers had even started calling it the human approach, solving complex problems with simple, reliable methods. We've also modified our defensive strategies, Commander Ray explained during the final planning meeting. Our new ships will carry both energy weapons and physical projectile systems. The attackers will never catch us defenseless again. But perhaps the most significant change was in how the aliens viewed Earth. They had come seeking help from what they thought was a primitive civilization. Instead, they found a young species that remembered and valued the fundamental principles of science and engineering. Your people reminded us of something important, Commander Ray told James. In our rush to advance, we had forgotten the strength of simplicity. You showed us that being advanced doesn't always mean being better. The next few days were filled with preparation. The Unity fleet would leave soon, but they would take more than just repaired ships with them. Each vessel carried detailed manuals of human engineering principles, what they called the Foundation Protocols. These would be shared throughout their civilization, ensuring that basic mechanical knowledge would never again be lost. In return, they left Earth with plans for some of their simpler technologies, nothing that would drastically upset humanity's development, but enough to help them advance safely. "You need to find your own path," Commander Ray explained, "but we can help you avoid some of our mistakes." On the day of departure, ships from both fleets gathered for a final ceremony. The Unity fleet's massive vessels formed an honor guard, their newly installed mechanical systems humming in harmony with their advanced technology. "Remember this day," James told his crew as they watched. "This is how humanity joined the galactic community, not through warfare or advanced technology, but by helping others and sharing our knowledge." Commander Ray's final message was broadcast to all ships. "To our human friends, you came to our aid when we were helpless. You showed us that true wisdom lies not in forgetting the past, but in building upon it. We leave not as rescued refugees, but as grateful allies. May this be a beginning of a long and beneficial partnership between our peoples." As the Unity fleet prepared to depart, their ships glowing with restored power, they fired a synchronized salute from their human-designed projectile weapons. It was a fitting tribute, a display of how the old and new could work together in perfect harmony. The rescue mission was over, but humanity's journey to the stars was just beginning.